What's up, YouTube? I just watched the season 3 finale of The Mandalorian. Let's talk about it and the season as a whole. Oh no, now that I took off my helmet, I have to bathe in the waters of Mandalore. In my opinion, the finale was great. Definitely the best episode of this season, but I'll get into that. I'll also get into some spoilers, so here is a spoiler alert now. Now that we're 3 full seasons into The Mandalorian, I can definitely see how they mirror the first 3 movies of Star Wars, episode 4 through 6. Season 1 does a great job introducing characters, feeling loss, winning the battle at the end of the day with some feeling that this isn't the end. Season 2 takes what Season 1 did great and amps it up to 11, as well as introducing some new characters and winning the battle but feeling sad at the end. Grogu leaving with Luke. Season 3 is the end. They attempt to take back Mandalore just like the Rebels try to take back the Republic. The enemy is defeated, and we have a happy ending. I would say that I rank the Mandalorian seasons and the first 3 Star Wars movies in the same kind of order, 2, 1, and 3. Not saying that Jedi or Season 3 is bad, necessarily. I would just watch the other 2 seasons or 2 movies first. In this finale, or really the last 2 episodes of this season, I feel like it does a great job of showing a lot of this was planned from the beginning. Moff Gideon hired the client, played by Werner Herzog, to hire Mando to recover the child. Mando, when he dropped off the child, was gifted the Beskar that Gideon had because he was on Mandalore this whole time. We also get to see what Gideon wanted with Grogu. He wanted to make clones of himself with the Force to become an unstoppable threat. Speaking of the clones, that jump scare really got me, especially watching this at 5 a.m. And no, I didn't get up specifically to watch this at 5 a.m. My dog was just wanted to get up. He had mentioned in the last episode that cloning was Hux's passion, so he wasn't advised to capture Grogu and resurrect Palpatine or create Snoke, which was a big theory. I'm definitely intrigued by if any of his clones survived or if this was his only set of clones. Because who knows, we might see them off again. I saw this theory that because, Moff Gideon didn't have his mustache and his hair was different, that this wasn't the Gideon that we had been dealing with the last 2 seasons. But to me, I think that's kind of a stretch because, he was captured at some point and was in prison. So most likely they shaved him at that point because I feel like that's something that they would do. I was waiting around for a post-credit scene just to see if we did get something that teased that. Maybe like one of the clones waking up, but we didn't get that. My theory going into this episode, because Din was captured, was that they were going to take his DNA and clone him, because they had mentioned the clones in the previous episode, because of how good of a Mandalorian he was, because he was the one that beat Moff Gideon. I was super interested to see what was going to happen in that debrief room that they had mentioned, since Moff was planning on killing the rest of the Mandalorians. I know that theory that people thought that he might get flayed and he wouldn't remember sweet little Grogu, which could have been something as well. Speaking of waiting for something else, the last episode, The Spies, everyone kept looking for the spies. Everyone thought it was the armor or Axe Wolves or something like that. I think The Spies was a little bit of a throwaway. I don't know if it was on purpose or if what it actually means. Because we did get the spy, Gideon's spy for the Republic that we knew about, but we were looking for that other spy. The opening scene where Wolves is flying up to the ships, I just kept thinking that he was going to fly up and, the ships were going to be on fire already, or he was going to get up to the ships and kill all the other Mandos. I wasn't sure, but then we didn't get any of that. So I think the Spies episode could have been called The Survivors, maybe. It could have been called The Survivors because we got to meet the survivors of Mandalore that helped bring the Mandalorians to the Forge. One other thing that I enjoyed about this season is watching the progression of Grogu throughout the series, really. Seeing him on episode 2 from this entire series, being so exhausted from just lifting that mudhorn, to now fighting against 3 Petrolian guards at once until Din comes to save him. But Grogu held his own, using the Force like he did, just wow. And then at the end, when he protects Din and Bo from the explosion, yeah, he's tired, but after that, wow. He's holding his own and protecting and made this gigantic Force bubble to protect them. And just watching him from that scene from the second episode to now, it's just crazy. Those 2 years, per what Favreau says, how long he was with Luke, really paid off. We also see that he communicates with the mythosaur that's down in the pools of Mandalore, so I'm excited to see if they dive into that in Season 4. One thing that really caught my heartstrings, and I know a lot of people felt the same way too, is Din finally adopts Grogu as his son, making him Din Grogu, which is a little confusing, and I've seen that on some posts. Is Din Djarin, is it Darjin Jin? So I'm not sure, but he is now Din Grogu. He is the son of Din Djarin, the Mandalorian. But I'm super happy that the father and son are finally a family, like an official family. I was hoping, as cliche as it sounds, that we were going to get Din and Bo together. I just wanted them to be happy together. And also seeing Grogu's progression to Bo throughout the season, going from, being on the back of the ship with Bo to being a little closer, and then to the point where little Grogu here was just sitting on her lap while they got back to Navarro in the last episode. So I would have liked to see that. I mean, like I said, it is cliche, but it would be something that would be pretty cool. If this series ended right now, I would be happy. This was a very happy ending, and I wouldn't mind if this series ended right now because of just the way that it ended. Din and Grogu bring back IG as Navarro's marshal. They take up home on Navarro and can help out the New Republic on the Outer Rim as Grogu learns the ways of being a Mandalorian. I just feel like their story right now is over, and it's going to be interesting to see what exactly they have in store for season 4 because they have announced that already. Would next season just be an adventure a week season with just a different adventure each time with no culminating story? Because I feel like we did get a little bit of that here in this season, which a lot of people didn't enjoy because, they just kept waiting for that next big cameo, that next big thing to happen, that next big progression. Basically, the season was a little mid because the way that they told the stories in the first 2 seasons was different than how they told it in this season, and I definitely feel like there was such a difference in that storytelling that it kind of hurt some of the earlier episodes because we were just waiting for the story to progress and it never happened. So yeah, would fans like a weekly show showing a new adventure on a new planet every week, or do they want a structured story that builds to a big epic season finale? I know we're getting Ahsoka in a few months, and now with Filoni, who had a great cameo. As soon as I saw that hat, I was like, Filoni. With getting a movie that will tie up the Mandalorian or Mandoverse, but how long until we see that? What are we going to get from Mandalorian going forward now that Moff Gideon is gone? So I'm excited to see what happens in season 4, especially after season 3 was a little mid. But it was definitely still enjoyable. There were still some great moments in this. It still is some of the best Star Wars that we've seen in years as a whole, and I cannot wait. Let me know what you thought of Mandalorian Season 3. Leave a like and comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.